Welcome to today. In this video, I'm going to go over the turtle species I've come across so far while living in Texas. This is not a comprehensive list, it's just the species I've personally encountered. These have been found in East Texas, which is important to note, as the biome in other parts of the state are vastly different. So let's get started. The first species I want to talk about is the red-eared slider. I've seen many of these at the city lake where I fish at, and I caught one on accident while catfishing, which can be pretty common if you know. And the name speaks for itself, as they have a distinct red stripe behind the eyes that meets the corner of their eye where the ear would typically be. The carapace, or the top shell, can reach 16 inches, but more are commonly seen at 6 to 8. And they can live between 20 and 30 years, but can get over 40. The red stripe actually correlates to their immune system, with red being higher immune response, and faded or yellow stripe means lower immune response. Males have longer claws than females, and the overall size is smaller on the males. And the male's plastron, aka the bottom shell, is slightly concave, while a female's is flat. The red stripe on the males can also fade with age, but the female stripe remains red throughout their life, and they prefer calm or still warm waters. When it gets cold, they don't hibernate, they brumate, which means they become less active to conserve energy. This occurs when the water is below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And during that state, they don't eat or poop and can survive anaerobically, meaning without oxygen, for weeks, meaning they don't have no gas exchange in their bodies. They go into anaerobic state and use energy stores that way. They're carnivores, so they eat all sorts of meat items. The eggs hatch on land, and the babies have a yolk sac attached to them, which they use to absorb into their bodies. And if that falls off prematurely, it could lead to air or water getting into their body through the opening, which means they could die. And they have to heal that before they can enter the water, or they would die. It takes about 21 days for that, and their sex is determined by temperature. And the males form at 72 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit, while females form at warmer temperatures. They have a conservation status of least concern and are most commonly traded chelonian, which means turtle, tortoise, or terrapin. They're the most commonly traded one for the pet industry in the world. They're also on the top 100 most invasive species due to the pet trade. People being releasing them whenever they don't want them no more or whatever, they release them into the wild. And their trade is actually quite regulated because they can carry salmonella. So watch out. Oh, and just so you know, according to the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the turtles were red-eared sliders. Each turtle was given its own species in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In this series, Leonardo was a red-eared slider, Raphael was an alligator snapping turtle, Donatello was a spiny softshell, and Michelangelo was an ornate box turtle. So yeah, these turtles can be confused with other sliders very easily, and also cooters, as many of these have similar throat straps, colorations, and appearances. Next up, we got the common snapping turtle. Actually, the first turtle I've ever hooked while bass fishing. One of the two extant genera of the snapping turtle family. That means they're not extinct. The other being Mako'sAdventures, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and that would be the alligator snapping turtle. So the family is the Chelydridae, if I'm pronouncing that right. There are 7 other extinct genera in that family. The Chelydridae genus has 3 species, all in the Americas. We got one in North America, which would be the common snapping turtle, and we got 2 in Central America and Northwest South America. The common snapping turtle is listed as least concern in the United States, but in Canada, the northern part of its range, is listed as special concern. It's known for its combative disposition out of water, which I can attest to. That thing was fighting hard. This thing was quite cross with me, but all it really wanted to do was get back in the water. And in the water, supposedly it's more calm and usually hides from people rather than trying to bite them. So just leave them alone unless you want some, turtle soup. Though the common snapping turtle has a low reproductive success, and its max age is over 100 years. The carapace is tan, brown, or black, with ridges more pronounced on the younger turtles, flattening as they grow older. An adult carapace can be 20 inches or more in length, but 9.8 to 18.5 is more common. They can weigh 9.9 to 35.3 pounds on average. Males are larger than the females, and the heaviest reported is 75 pounds, and in captivity, 86 pounds was recorded. And they get larger, apparently, in the north of the range. And they have a great sense of smell due to their olfactory organs. They live in shallow ponds and streams and can even inhabit brackish water, and that just means when the fresh and salt waters mix together. They're omnivorous, so they eat invertebrates, frogs, fish, plants, carrion, small mammals, reptiles, pretty much whatever they can scavenge. And they don't really have many predators when they grow big, but when they're hibernating, they kind of got to watch out because you got large carnivores like the northern river otter, coyotes, bears, alligators snapping turtles. All that can go for them. And many creatures also eat their eggs. They're very tolerant to the cold, and some don't even hibernate. They can just get away with being awake in the cold or something. Like the red-eared slider, the temperature affects the sex of the young. Though with these, the females develop at low and high temperatures, and the males develop at the medium temperatures between those. And in the northern climates, they can live without breathing for like 6 months since the ice freezes over the water. So instead, they exchange gases through their mouth and their throat membranes. It's called extrapulmonary respiration. If they can't get enough oxygen still, they utilize an anaerobic process that burns sugars and fats without the need for oxygen. And these turtles have a higher mobility than the alligator snapping turtle and can reach around and get you if you hold them too close to their head. The best way to hold them, if you have to, is by supporting the plastron near their hind legs. But still use caution if you ever need to pick them up. You know, their bite force is thought to be able to bite fingers off, but it's been measured at 62 to 564 newtons of force. And just for a comparison, human bite force on the back molars is like 300 to 700 newtons of force. But even though it's less than a human's bite force, don't risk it. You know, you can still definitely get injured. The tip of your finger could be taken off. They could probably still break your bones. So, I mean, handle with caution. Also, here's some trivia for this one. This turtle, the common snapping turtle, was used in political propaganda, apparently. And New York elementary schools have voted this species as the state reptile for New York. Next up, a turtle I remember the name of very well, as it was in The Complete Book of Animals by Tom Jackson, a book that I read as a kid, the first animal book I believe I've ever gotten. When I first saw this turtle, I didn't know what it was exactly, but I thought that it looked like a stink pot turtle, and also known as the eastern musk turtle. After doing research, I was right. I thought stink pots were bigger than these, but they're actually a smaller turtle, having a carapace length of 2 to 5.5 inches. The carapace is black, gray, or brown, with a high dome shell. They have a long neck with yellow lines, short legs, and a somewhat triangular shaped head with a pointed snout and a sharp beak. They have a yellow-green stripe from the top of the nose to the neck, and barbells on the chin and throat. And the barbells and the head shape are initially what led me to believe that this was a stink pot. The plastron is small, with one transverse anterior hinge, and the rest of it is like fused. Their tongues have bud-like papillae, so they can absorb oxygen from underwater. As you can see in the video, these things sank to the bottom when I put them back in. They're less buoyant than other turtles due to a lack of a cloacal bursae, which store water to regulate their buoyancy. Some populations exhibit megalocephaly, in other words, a big head, because they eat tough, hard-shelled things, so they get big jaw muscles as a result of their natural selection/adaptation. And females in this species are actually larger than the males. They like shallow, heavy vegetated waters, slow-moving creeks, ponds, swamps, marshes, and they can even go to bigger lakes and ponds, and bigger rivers. I found these close to the shore near vegetation. They can't swim too good, so they kind of walk on the bottom, as you can see in the video. They're omnivores. As I previously stated, they eat hard-shell things like mollusks, crustaceans, probably crawfish and stuff. They also eat tadpoles, frogs, fish, plants, seeds, bugs, pretty much whatever they can find, just like the common snapping turtle. And in Texas, where I'm at, apparently they eat invasive snails, so that's cool. And sometimes they'll even go on land for food, but they're generally bottom feeders. They're hunted by small carnivores, birds, snapping turtles, snakes, even largemouth bass. Researchers have found that smaller and larger females, despite the size, still both lay the same size eggs. The turtles can reach over 50 years in captivity. And as the name suggests, their defense is the scent glands to deter predators. Alrighty, so this last species of turtle that I found, well, I can't really figure out what it is exactly. Unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of the plastron because I wasn't thinking I was going to identify it later. I just thought it was a pretty turtle. If we look here, this Florida cooter has the similar stripes on the carapace as this turtle that I found. As you can see right here, we got those light yellow orangish lines, and we also have a similar shell shape. I also believe this may be a northern red-bellied cooter because the pleural scutes on this turtle have these forked ends, and as you can see on the turtle that I found, it matches up to this. The only problem is the shell of the northern red-bellied is typically darker than the one I found, but the colors match up. On the marginal scutes, we have that red color in it. On the back, we have these little slight serrations on the back end of the marginal scutes. We come up here on the head, we can see that these lines are like almost exact. If we look at the front end of the face, we can see that the straps on the head more closely resemble the red-bellied cooter versus the eastern river cooter or any of the other Texas cooters that I've researched. We also have this cusp on the mouth where it bumps up a little. On the other cooters, it's like a smooth line for their mouth. This head strap is also less bold. As we can see, it matches up to that red-bellied cooter more than the eastern river cooter. But the only problem is the range, which is more north on the east coast. And I'm here in East Texas, but that doesn't mean it can't still be around here because pet trade. As we can see, there's a lot of species of cooters and other turtles that have come. Look at the red-eared slider, for example. Here's the range maps of some different species. The rube of interest over in the top right is the northern red-bellied cooter. And we can see in that group, we have some range going down in Florida. And these other Florida species that had similar shell markings, you know, all those can survive in warmer weather, apparently. So it is possible that this turtle may be the northern red-bellied cooter. Here is the peninsula cooter on the right, but we can see this one has bold stripes once again, unlike the cooter that I have in my picture. So I'm still not too sure what this is. So if you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments and just let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I had fun making this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. So thank you very much. Bye.